Hello everyone, PG Josh here, and this is my Final Fights tutorial guide for you beginners of KH2FM Randomizer. So for this, I will be covering everything from pre-Armor Xemnas, Armor Xemnases 1 and 2, Final Xemnas, and Dome Skip. And I'm going to be teaching you the ways I do it personally, so if I miss anything or get anything wrong, be sure to write it up in the comments below, or if this guide helped as well. Now, before we begin, I want to have a fight checklist that you have. And if you're missing some things, that's fine. You just have to take things a little differently. One thing that's important is having a reflect, at least a Magnera, making sure you have no combo pluses or negative combos. So make sure you take advantage of that menu you have before entering final fights, whether that be right before you enter the door in the world that never was, or right as soon as you enter the door in the terminal with Promise Charm. And I would have Riku on the party. Make sure if you have a bunch of ethers, of course, equip a whole bunch on yourself with auto reload. And if you have a bunch of extras from money pouches, equip all of them on Riku with auto reload as well, just so you have more ethers to work with in case you don't have a lot of item slots. And another thing I would like to show off, if you have it, is Final Form, which will help make Armor Xemnas 1 be super quick and fast. And just about every other ability is fine if you want to have it, especially finishing pluses. Finishing pluses are going to be really big. Now, starting off, there are going to be buildings rising up, and if you hit the reaction command, you've already lost a tad bit of time. If you have at least a glide 2, you could be able to glide hugging the right wall, and there's going to be a little pocket off to the side, and you'll be able to glide in it before the buildings hit you, and the buildings will fall down shortly after, and you'll just be able to glide the rest of the way. It's not like an end-all be-all type deal like Dome Skip, where it saves like a whole minute. It saves like maybe a second or maybe even a little less, depending on what level your glide is, but it still saves a bit of time over waiting 10 seconds for that reaction command. Now you're going to take a building rising high all the way up to a bunch of buildings in the air. Now right as you just want to glide, clear a whole bunch of them, because if you do a reaction command on the last building, you're going to have to reaction command through the rest of the buildings, when you could just fly to the end and only have to do it once and just fly straight to the thing. So how do we do that? Just glide all the way down the alley, and by the time you get to see the second shadow of the building, just throw a reflect, because that thing's always going to hit you no matter what, and just fly down to the end and make sure you're still gliding when you hit the reaction command, because this reaction command you can actually only hit if you're in the air. It's one of the few, if not the only one, that's the air. Now once you get to here with all these right cylinders and left cylinders, you want to just throw a Magnera. This is where it comes into play. Run into the corner, let a few of them spawn, draw another Magnera. Now running into a corner is important because it limits their spawn to be, you see how they're all like really grouped up. If you stay in like the middle, they're all going to be spread apart and maybe Magnera won't hit them all. And one thing to note as well is that these guys only spawn when you're standing on the ground, so just throw out like 4 magnets and that should be enough to take out a cylinder. If not, throw out a 5th one. Make sure you keep your ethers on hand. You don't want to ever let your MP go into recharge. Do the same thing again for left cylinder, throw out a Magnera, run into the corner, do another one, and keep doing this. Now if you don't have Magnera, or if you have baby magnet, running into the corner will still help. If you want to take a few out, it's just the range is really small. But if you don't have magnet or Magnera, you're just gonna have to manually whack them. Aerial dive is helpful, and aerial spiral is also really helpful. Anything to close distance on them is really helpful, and just remember that spawning them on the ground, staying on the ground is the only way to make them spawn, and you'll be able to whittle it down before the timer hits 0. There's many ways to go about this segment right here. It's just whatever you have best at for crowd control. Now, one of my best advice I could give is to use Chicken Little, since that'll group them all up for you, and you can just have a thunder or explosion and finish them all off super easy like that. And he's really reliable. And of course, if you have assassins stuck in the ground, just throw a reflect before they're about to attack you, and that'll pop them out of the ground, and the reflect should finish the job. Now, this is assuming that your stats. This is important because this is assuming your stats are at the ceiling, which is around high 40 to 50. I couldn't tell you the exact number, but your reflect should be doing a ton of damage if you're at that ceiling. So this is without Final Form. Now, without Final Form, he's kind of a cakewalk. You just run up and swing him. You do a 3-hit combo into a reflect if you have the finishing plus for it, and then he'll do a swing if you hit him enough times. If not, just keep doing a combo and then throw out a reflect when the spears are going to come down and get you. But if you start swinging, throw out a reflect immediately and keep attacking, and throw another reflect for the spears, and he will be done just like that. Now, if you have Final Form going into Armor Xemnas 1, you want to throw out 2 fires immediately, rolling up to him. 1, 2, into a reflect, into fire again if that doesn't finish him off, and if that still doesn't finish him off, just throw out another reflect or 2. Now, Armor Xemnas 2 is a tad bit of an interesting fight. Now, you always open this fight with a swing, so just reflect, and if you have Combo Master, just follow it up with a slide dash. If not, just hit him, and you'll have an HP gate right as soon as you get him down to the third health bar, or second bar, however you see it. And when he knocks you back, you'll know if he knocks you back if he raises his sword up and slashes down. You're always going to want to just take that. Now, you want to fall for about 2 seconds, and then jump glide, or until you hit the ground. And you'll be able to hit a writing shot. You actually command a building right in front of you, which is really nice. And right as soon as that hit the meteor rain, you want to be spamming your jump button just so you get an aerial dodge into a glide right after, just so you miss the laser spawning. Now, as you fall down, you either to attack while you're falling or when you show up right in front of them. And this is what happens when you show up right in front of them. Luckily, it is barriers, so you're able to get 2 reflects off of them. Now, with this second one, he'll have lasers on you, which is interesting. You want to jump high enough for the set of 4 buildings coming right at you to be just high enough over this building right here, just so you writing shot this one. And you want to do the same thing with the whole air dodge into glide right after, because then you have to deal with more lasers. You see here, he did an attack before he even landed. If he doesn't attack, you're just open the swing at him, go crazy on him, because he is open for a little bit. Or you can just wait for him to attack again if you don't feel safe. That's completely understandable too. Get a reflect punish on him. Now, quickly before you finish off Armor Xemnas 2, make sure you refill your MP, or at least it's close to max, because you're going to need to be able to perform a bunch of reflects right as soon as Final Xemnas starts. But if you don't happen to restore your MP enough, you can actually just take a quick death to Final Xemnas, since he'll beat you up very quickly no matter what difficulty you're on, so there's that. Now you've made it to Final Xemnas. Congratulations on making it this far, but unfortunately this is the most complicated fight out of everything. So I'll just cover basically everything he does, just because I did see a few people, and some people were just straight up struggling on this fight, so you know, I'll just cover the basis on everything. You'll always open this fight with "We shall go together," and since we're on a time crunch, and it's just a really long sequence where you just mash reversal like you've never pressed triangle in your life before, we try to optimize damage output as much as possible. And how do we do that? We throw reflex in the middle of this. Now, I know this looks really complicated what's going on here, but it's actually a fairly simple pattern that we follow here, since he will attack with his real self and then his clone self, which takes no damage. So I'll be running it down with you. As soon as this fight starts with him monologuing, you want to be mashing your reflect shortcut to begin this pattern. So it's reflect, reversal, reversal, into triple reversal, reflect, double reversal again, triple reversal, reflect, double reversal, triple reversal, reflect, reversal, reversal, and reflect, double reversal. And that is it. It's basically, in boil it down to simple terms, it is reflect 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, reflect 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, reflect 1, 2, reflect 1, 2. Not too bad. Now this might be, now of course, you might not get exactly like whole 1, 2, just keep reflecting until the clone disappears. The numbers will obviously change depending on your reflect timings, but that's like the general timings. Oh yes, and while you're at it, pay attention to how much damage your reflects are doing, because that'll determine what you're going to be looking out for when trying to go for dome skip with the setup I use it. I'll explain it later, but just pay attention to how much damage you're using and make sure you don't go past his last health bar. Now what he can do next after this is that he could throw an orb right as soon as the attack ends, and what you want to do is reflect if heals be gone. If not, he'll just throw a couple of vines. You could also reflect that too, in case you just want to be safe. But you want to just fall back to the ground as soon as possible after that. Next, he'll start fading in with this clone, and you actually do have an opening here if you attack his real self before he starts attacking himself. And if you have enough damage output, you'll be able to knock him straight into laser phase, which would be nice. If not, then you're going to be stuck on this for a little bit. And if you do happen to combo him, there is a chance, and he doesn't get knocked to laser phase, but it's really close to. His laser phase begins like right as soon as you get to his third health bar. Now if you do get a combo on him and he's not in laser phase, if he like disappears for like a little over a second, just throw a reflect, because he's gonna do "We shall go together" again, and you're just gonna have to do that attack string again. But be careful when doing it this time, because his health is going to be a lot lower. You're only going to be throwing about 1 or 2 reflects depending on your damage output, basically to where he only has 1 bar as you see here. And this will give you a nice easy setup for when trying to go for dome skip, which I'll cover in a minute after covering the rest of his moves. Once you get him down low, pretty low, you'll start doing these lasers. Now he'll either appear and drop like 3 lasers. You can reflect those and be able to get reflect damage off him if you need to still do some damage to him. or you could just block him. You'll have a moment where he does appear in front of you sometimes and fires a couple shots at you personally. Just keep blocking those. You have to throw a few blocks. And if he does a few of these laser attacks and then does a surround one with making it circling around you, then that's how you know his cycle will end and you will have your opportunity to attack him. And this is when I like to perform skip. And if you ever stick too long into any one of his phase for a certain amount of time, he'll eventually do a can you spare a heart attack, which he'll grab Sora and make you play as Riku. Whenever he says that, you could just be safe and throw a triple reflect when he starts talking and you should be able to avoid it. The timing window when he grabs you is when he says heart, so you can actually dodge it with a single reflect if you time it just right, but I like to go safe and usually do 2 or 3 reflects to get right through it. Now on to dome skip. During this, you want to watch his health very carefully with your reflects as well. If his health is just over a health bar and your reflects do a health bar of damage, don't reflect until you see this final lasers surrounding you. And what you want to do is delay a little bit after he puts it all down, pretty much right as soon as he vanishes. You want to do a triple reflect into session and make sure you're targeting the real one. If not, you could switch targets to the real one by holding down right trigger and panning your camera to the correct one. And you're mainly going to want to use your triangle commands since those have the most reach on them, and if you do have the off chance where you knock them out to the arena, which will happen often, refill your MP to max throughout all's end and mash triangle like at the start of the fight during this cutscene, because you're going to need to throw reflect into session immediately after again. He's still going to be outside the arena, but a dark cannon should finish him off, and congratulations, you finished dome skip. One thing that's worth noting as well is if you do happen to get domed, it is faster to take a death on dome, like let Riku die, because Sora will probably die really slow. And if you have a perfect final Xemnas like that, then it's actually faster than taking the dome. But sometimes you may just want to take a dome. It's a tough decision, but you know, depending on your equipment, you might just want to take it. You know, if you don't have any reflex, then you might just want to take dome. Unless you know any other like backups with limit form or like crazy session spams, but I won't cover those since I will only cover what I do and what I think is safe and consistent. And that covers just about everything. Thank you all so much for listening. Make sure you leave comments if this helped or if I missed anything, any pointers or anything. And yeah, that'll do it. Thank you so much for watching and good luck to you, runners.